The massive interstellar transport ship hummed with a quiet, mechanical rhythm as it glided through the vast darkness of space. Inside the cargo hold, a small brown puppy named Buddy sat curled up in a corner, his soft fur a sharp contrast against the cold, metallic floor. Around him, the towering Kural aliens moved about, their iridescent exoskeletons glinting under the artificial lights. Daiho, a senior navigation officer with sharp, angular features, noticed the puppy and let out a deep, rumbling laugh that echoed through the metal compartment. His fellow crew members turned to look, their multiple eyes focusing on the tiny Earth creature. "Look at this," Daiho announced to his colleagues, pointing a long, slender appendage toward Buddy, a human's pathetic companion, so small, so weak. The other Kural aliens joined in the laughter, their high-pitched sounds mixing with the ship's background noise. They were massive creatures, each standing nearly 3 meters tall with bodies that seemed more mechanical than organic. Their technological advancements were legendary across multiple star systems, and they took great pride in their superiority. Buddy remained perfectly still, his brown eyes watching them with an unusual intensity. To the Kural, he appeared to be just another simple animal, but something was different about this puppy. His movements were calculated, his gaze purposeful. As the aliens continued their mockery, Buddy's ears twitched slightly. Hidden beneath his soft fur was a complex network of advanced microprocessors, carefully integrated into his biological system. He was listening, analyzing, processing every single word and sound around him. The cargo hold was massive, filled with containers of exotic materials and trade goods from various planets. Metallic crates were stacked high, creating a maze-like environment that seemed to stretch endlessly. Buddy's small frame allowed him to move silently, almost unnoticed, between these towering structures. Daiho walked closer, his massive form casting a shadow over the puppy. "Humans think these small creatures are companions," he said to his closest colleague, Mirun. "But they are nothing more than decorative objects, useless in the grand scheme of the universe." Mirun nodded, her exoskeleton shifting with the movement. "Humans are a young species. They do not understand true technological advancement. What they didn't know was that Buddy was listening, and more importantly, he was learning." The ship's internal systems continued their steady hum. Cooling mechanisms clicked, navigation computers blinked with soft lights, and the distant sound of engine stabilizers created a constant background noise. In this environment, Buddy seemed almost insignificant, but appearances could be deceiving. The puppy's genetic modifications were unlike anything the Kural had ever encountered. Created in a secret Earth laboratory, Buddy represented the next generation of companion animals, part biological, part technological, with capabilities far beyond traditional understanding. His neural network was continuously collecting data. Every laugh, every dismissive comment, every technical detail about the ship's systems was being processed and stored. To the Kural, he was just a small, harmless creature. To those who truly understood his design, he was a sophisticated intelligence gathering unit. Daiho reached out, intending to nudge Buddy with his mechanical appendage. The puppy didn't move. He didn't bark. He simply watched, his brown eyes reflecting an intelligence that seemed out of place in such a small body. The ship continued its journey through the endless expanse of space, carrying its unusual passenger. Buddy remained curled up in his corner, looking like nothing more than a simple, tired puppy. But beneath that innocent exterior, something extraordinary was waiting, preparing, learning. The Kural had no idea what was coming. As the hours passed and the ship moved silently through the star-filled darkness, Buddy closed his eyes. To any observer, he appeared to be sleeping, but his advanced systems were wide awake, collecting, analyzing, and preparing for whatever might come next. The universe was about to get very interesting. The ship's interior buzzed with constant activity. Buddy remained in his corner, looking like a simple, innocent puppy, but his advanced neural network was working at incredible speeds. Every sound, every conversation, every technical detail was being processed and analyzed. Daiho and Mirun continued their discussions, unaware that the small brown puppy was capturing every single word. They talked about trade routes, cosmic politics, and the supposed weakness of younger civilizations. Their language was complex, filled with technical terms and intricate references, but Buddy's modified brain was decoding everything perfectly. Humans are still using primitive energy systems, Daiho commented, adjusting some controls on a nearby panel. They haven't even mastered quantum stabilization. Myron nodded, her exoskeleton shifting with a mechanical precision. Their technology is like a child playing with basic building blocks. We have been traveling between star systems for thousands of years. What they didn't realize was that Buddy was collecting more than just conversation. He was mapping the ship's entire technical infrastructure. Every cable, every computer system, every mechanical connection was being recorded in his advanced memory banks. The cargo hold was a complex environment. Massive containers filled with rare minerals and technological components surrounded the puppy. Holographic displays flickered in the background, showing navigation charts and interstellar maps. Buddy's eyes moved slightly, capturing every detail. His genetic modifications were truly remarkable. Created in a secret Earth laboratory, he represented a breakthrough in biological-technological integration. His creators had designed him to look completely ordinary, a simple rescue puppy with soft brown fur and gentle eyes. But underneath that innocent exterior was a sophisticated intelligence-gathering system. The ship's navigation systems continued their steady operation. Quantum stabilizers hummed, maintaining the vessel's perfect trajectory through the vast darkness of space. Buddy's internal systems were synchronizing with these frequencies, understanding their complex patterns. Mirun walked closer to the cargo containers, checking some technical readings. Her mechanical appendages moved with a fluid grace, pressing holographic buttons that appeared and disappeared with each touch. Buddy watched, his processor recording every single movement. The latest trade routes are becoming more complicated, Mirun said to another crew member. Human expansion is creating unexpected challenges in our traditional navigation patterns. The other crew member, a tall Coral named Jinho, responded with a series of complex clicks and mechanical sounds. Their language was not just verbal, but included intricate body movements and technological transmissions. Buddy's advanced systems were translating everything. Not just the words, but the underlying meanings, the subtle communications happening between the crew members. He was learning about their culture, their technology, their weaknesses. The ship's artificial gravity kept everything perfectly balanced. Small objects remained perfectly still, and Buddy could move without creating any unnecessary noise. His training allowed him to remain completely undetected, just another piece of cargo in a massive interstellar transport. Hours passed. The Kural crew continued their routine, unaware of the advanced intelligence observing them. Buddy's internal systems were creating complex models and predictions, analyzing potential scenarios based on the information he was collecting. A small warning light blinked on a distant panel. Most would have ignored it, but Buddy's systems immediately focused. It was a minor fluctuation in the ship's quantum stabilization field, something the Kural crew might not even notice. His creators had designed him to be more than just an observer. He was a sophisticated tool, capable of understanding and responding to complex technological environments. As the ship moved through the dark, endless space, Buddy remained perfectly still. To the Kural, he was just a small, insignificant puppy. But with each passing moment, he was gathering information that could change everything. The universe was full of secrets, and this small puppy was about to uncover some of its biggest mysteries. The ship continued its journey, unaware that its most important passenger was not in any of the registered cargo containers. He was sitting quietly in the corner, looking like nothing more than a simple sleeping dog. But he was watching, always watching. The silence of space was suddenly broken by a sharp, piercing alarm. Red warning lights began flashing throughout the ship's interior, casting an intense crimson glow across the cargo hold. Buddy's ears perked up, his entire body instantly alert. Space pirates had appeared from nowhere, using advanced stealth technology that made their ships almost invisible until the moment of attack. The Kural vessel's defensive systems, which, moments ago seemed invincible, began to falter under precise calculated strikes. Deho's confident voice transformed into a panicked series of mechanical sounds. "Defensive shields are failing," he shouted, his multiple limbs moving frantically across control panels. Buddy watched carefully. His neural network was processing the attack with remarkable speed, analyzing the pirate ship's approach, their weapon signatures, and the specific vulnerabilities of the Kural vessel. What seemed like chaos to the alien crew was a perfectly readable mathematical equation to him. The ship shook violently. Massive containers began to slide across the cargo hold, creating a dangerous landscape of moving metal and potential destruction. Smaller objects crashed around Buddy, but he remained perfectly still, his body low to the ground, calculating. Mirren's voice cut through the alarm sounds. "Emergency protocols are not responding." Her mechanical appendages moved faster than human eyes could follow, trying to activate backup systems. The pirate attack was surgical. They weren't just randomly shooting. They were targeting specific ship systems with incredible precision. Each laser strike seemed designed to disable rather than completely destroy the vessel. Buddy's internal systems were now in full operational mode. Hidden beneath his soft brown fur, complex technological components began to activate. Microsensors expanded, creating a complete three-dimensional map of the ongoing battle. The ship's quantum stabilization field was rapidly deteriorating. Electrical systems sparked and failed. Navigation computers blinked in and out of functionality. To the Kural crew, this was a moment of total panic. But Buddy saw something different. He identified a 0.03-second window in the pirates' attack pattern, a tiny moment of vulnerability that the Kural crew had completely missed. His processors began calculating potential counter-strategies, mapping out potential survival scenarios. More alarms joined the initial warning. The ship's artificial gravity began to fluctuate, creating a dangerous environment where objects and crew members could float unpredictably. Metal panels creaked and groaned under the stress of the attack. "We're losing primary systems." Jinho screamed, his mechanical voice filled with terror. Buddy's eyes remained focused. He wasn't scared. He was analyzing. The pirates were using a sophisticated attack method that suggested they had insider information about Kural ship designs. Each strike was perfectly calculated to disable critical systems without causing complete destruction. Microprocessors, hidden within Buddy's body, began sending out silent communication signals. Complex encrypted data started transmitting, gathering information about the attackers that the ship's primary systems had missed. The cargo hold transformed into a chaotic battlefield. Containers crashed, electrical systems sparked, and the ship's internal structure seemed ready to break apart. The Kural crew moved in panicked, uncoordinated patterns, but Buddy remained perfectly calm. His genetic modifications weren't just about gathering information. He was designed to respond, and right now he was preparing for something the pirates could never expect. The attack continued. Space outside was filled with laser strikes and quantum energy bursts. Inside the ship, everything seemed on the verge of total collapse. Buddy took a deep breath. Something was coming, and when it arrived, everything would change. The universe had just become a much more complicated place. The cargo hold suddenly went completely silent. For a split second, everything stopped moving. The damaged ship systems, the falling containers, even the distant sounds of battle, all became perfectly still. Then a bright blue light appeared. Lieutenant Jaewon Park materialized through a quantum entanglement portal. Her arrival was so precise, so sudden, that even the space pirates momentarily froze in shock. She stood perfectly balanced, wearing a sleek tactical suit that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. Buddy's entire body tensed. His neural systems recognized her instantly, not just as his owner, but as his primary operational partner. "Buddy," Jaewon whispered, her voice calm and controlled. Operational mode activated. The small brown puppy's eyes changed. The innocent, soft look disappeared, replaced by a cold, calculating gaze. Hidden technological components within his body began to activate, transforming him from a simple companion to a sophisticated combat assistant. The Kural crew watched in complete disbelief. One moment, they had been facing total destruction. The next, a single human and a small puppy had appeared in their cargo hold. Jaewon's tactical suit was more than just clothing. It was a complex system of advanced technological interfaces, connected directly to Buddy's neural network. Microsensors expanded from her sleeves, creating a protective field around them. Analyzing threat parameters, Buddy's internal systems processed, his small body now radiating a strange technological energy. The space pirates' attack pattern was complex. They had spent months planning this specific strike, studying Kural ship designs and identifying critical vulnerabilities. But they had never encountered a human canine team like Jaewon and Buddy. Jaewon moved with impossible speed. Her hands became a blur of motion, activating countermeasures that the pirates' systems couldn't predict. Each movement was calculated, each gesture part of a larger strategic plan. Buddy began transmitting complex encrypted signals. His small body was now a sophisticated communication hub, jamming pirate systems and revealing hidden attack vectors that the Kural crew had missed. Target identification complete, Buddy's internal systems announced. His eyes tracked multiple moving objects simultaneously, processing information faster than any computer on the ship. The pirates' sophisticated stealth technology began to fail. Their ships, which moments ago had been almost invisible, started to reveal themselves. Jaewon's tactical suit was somehow disrupting their most advanced hiding mechanisms. Daeho and the other Kural crew members could only watch. Their most advanced defensive systems had failed. Yet this human and her small puppy were turning the entire battle around in moments. Buddy's genetic modifications weren't just about gathering information. He was a living, breathing technological weapon. His body could interface with multiple systems, creating defensive and offensive strategies in microseconds. Laser strikes that moments ago had been destroying the ship now began to redirect. Jaewon's suit created quantum interference fields, turning the pirates' own weapons against them. Primary objective, Buddy's systems announced: ship preservation and crew protection. The cargo hold transformed. Containers that had been falling now seemed to move in perfect, controlled patterns. Electrical systems that had been failing began to stabilize. The entire ship responded to Jaewon and Buddy's presence. The space pirates' attack was falling apart. Their most sophisticated technology was being dismantled by a human and a puppy. Jaewon hadn't said more than 2 words since arriving. She didn't need to. Every movement, every subtle gesture was a complex communication with Buddy. They were more than an owner and a pet. They were a perfectly synchronized operational team. The battle was ending, and nobody on the ship could quite understand how. Buddy looked up at Jaewon. She looked down at him. No words were needed. The universe had just witnessed something extraordinary. The aftermath of the battle was unlike anything the Kural crew had ever experienced. Jaewon stood perfectly still, Buddy sitting quietly beside her. While around them, the cargo hold slowly returned to normal. Daeho was the first to speak, his mechanical voice trembling. How did you do that? Jaewon simply raised an eyebrow. Buddy's eyes scanned the room, still processing the massive amount of data from the recent conflict. The space pirates' ships were now floating helplessly, their advanced technology completely neutralized. What had seemed like an impossible attack moments ago was now nothing more than a collection of disabled vessels. Mirren approached cautiously, her exoskeleton shifting with a mixture of fear and fascination. We have fought across hundreds of star systems, she said, but we have never seen anything like this. Buddy's internal systems continued to work. He was collecting data about the Kural crew's reactions, analyzing their emotional and technological responses to what had just happened. Jaewon's tactical suit began to shift, its surface revealing complex technological patterns that seemed to dance and move. Each pattern told a story of advanced Earth technology that the Kural had never imagined possible. Our initial scans showed nothing, Jinho muttered, reviewing ship records. How could a human and a small animal neutralize an entire pirate fleet? The truth was both simple and complex. Buddy was not just a puppy. He was a living technological marvel, a perfect blend of biological intelligence and advanced computer systems. His genetic modifications went far beyond anything the Kural had ever encountered. Jaewon's hand moved slightly, and Buddy responded instantly. A holographic display appeared, showing the entire battle sequence. Every laser strike, every defensive maneuver was broken down into precise mathematical calculations. The Kural crew watched in stunned silence. What they saw was not just a record of a battle. It was a demonstration of a completely different approach to technology and warfare. Each movement by Jaewon and Buddy had been part of a complex living strategy that adapted in microseconds. "Impossible," Daeho whispered. Buddy turned, looking directly at the alien. His eyes were no longer just the soft brown of a puppy. They were windows into a complex technological intelligence that defied everything the Kural understood about biological systems. Jaewon began to explain, her voice calm and matter-of-fact. She spoke about Earth's advanced research programs, about the next generation of human technology integration. Each word was a revelation that shook the Kural's understanding of intelligent life. The ship's systems, which had been failing moments ago, now hummed with perfect efficiency. Buddy had not just stopped the attack, he had essentially repaired and optimized the entire vessel during the conflict. Mirren looked at the small puppy with new respect. "You are not just a companion," she said. "You are a living weapon." Buddy simply wagged his tail, a normal puppy gesture that now seemed both adorable and slightly terrifying. The revelation was complete. The Kural had believed themselves to be the most advanced species in their part of the galaxy. Now they understood that humans had been developing technologies beyond their comprehension. Jaewon's suit began to fold back to its original form. Buddy sat quietly, looking like nothing more than a simple rescue dog. But the Kural crew now knew the truth. "We underestimated humans," Jinho said quietly. As the ship continued its journey, everything had changed. The Kural no longer saw humans as a young developing species. They saw them as something else entirely, a civilization with potential beyond imagination. Buddy looked up at Jaewon. She smiled and scratched behind his ears. To anyone watching, it was just a simple moment between a human and her dog. But the Kural knew better.